Something like that.
Flag of the United States of America,
to the flag
republic for which it stands, one
of
nation,
nation
under God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty,
liberty,
and justice for all.
all.
Oh, yeah.
And do roll call. Can you mute that? Okay, thank you. Yep.
Allen. Valley.
Here.
Considine. Considine. Farster.
Here.
Gibbler.
Present.
Horstman.
Here.
Hudson. Humphrey.
Here.
Kitson.
Present.
Copain.
Here.
McLean. Lyrum.
Present.
Nicholson. Norberg.
Here.
Palin.
Here.
Sheline.
Here.
Shippert.
Here.
Scrogstad.
Here.
Wentley.
Here.
White.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Zeman. And Olson.
Here. Thank you. Okay, under announcements, can you please mute or turn your cell phones off? And we'll go to B. Bob Sondergroth's here, the regional superintendent of the ROE. Want to say a few words? Bob?
Good evening, everybody. I wanted to make sure I came tonight to thank you for all of your support. I've been in the regional office for 18 years. In the last 6, I've been your regional superintendent. It's been a rough 6 years at the beginning, but it went great after that. Beginning, Marilyn helped me get the office where it needed to be. And I think you guys, your support really helped get through that transition period when we combined the offices. It's been fantastic for the last 5 years. The first year was a little rough, but the last 5 years has been fantastic. The support I've gotten from all 3 counties, but especially Lee County. I feel close to Lee County. My mom graduated from Amboy High School. She lived in Maytown. She was born in Maytown. I've always felt close to Lee County. And to be your regional superintendent has been an honor. It's time for me to hang it up. As of June 30th, I'll be retiring. And I have talked to the party chairs from the Republican Party, and their recommendation to your chair and to the chair for the Ogle County Board and Whiteside County Board is that my assistant, Chris Tennyson, move up to take my place. I don't think you could get a better guy. I think that we really have taken the office to a new level, and he's gonna take it to the next level. So I just wanted to stop by before I go to Sauk Valley College's adult education graduation, which starts 5 minutes ago. But I told him, you guys take priority. I'll be there when I can get there. So I just wanted to thank you for all the support over the years and tell you that I'll be rooting for you, but I won't be here.
Congratulations on your retirement and thank you for your service.
But thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Has everybody had a chance to look over the board minutes of the regular board meeting last month? If there's any changes or corrections? If none, we'll let them stand as read. We'll start out with the resolution appointing Tom Wilson to fill District 3 vacancy for a term effective May 20, 2021 and ending November 30th, 2022. Do I have a motion? Doug Varster first. Second. Horstman. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? I guess we better have a roll call vote on this.
McLean.
Yes.
Lyrum.
Yes.
Nicholson.
Yes.
Norberg.
Yes.
Palin.
Yes.
Sheline.
Yes.
Shippert.
Yes.
Scrogstad.
Yes.
Wentley.
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Zeman. Valley,
yes,
Barster,
Yes.
Gibbler,
Yes.
Horstman,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Humphrey,
Yes.
Kitson,
Yes.
Copain,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. Motion passed. At this time, Clerk Peterson will give the oath of office to Mr. Wilson, if you want to come forward.
I, Tom Wilson, having been appointed to the office of the county board in the 3rd district of Lee County, in the county of Lee, and the state of Illinois, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Illinois, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Lee County Board District 3. Congratulations.
Welcome, Tom. If you want to take a seat anywhere here. Okay. To the zoning board, we got petition 21-P-1564, petitioner John Thanos, parcel number 11-16-09-100-019 in Lee Center Township. Petitioner is requesting a special use for the purpose of utilizing his property as a private club. We have a motion to pass. Chris Norberg. Don seconds it. Do a roll call vote on that.
This is up. Okay.
I'm sorry. Who's got a question?
No, I'm okay now.
I'm sorry. I didn't.
No, Mike answered my question.
Chris Norberg first. John Nicholson second.
Lyrum,
Yes.
Nicholson.
Yeah.
Norberg,
Yes.
Palin,
Yes.
Sheline,
Yes.
Shippert,
Yes.
Scrogstad,
Yes.
Wentley,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Zeman,
Yes.
Valley,
yes,
Barster,
Yes.
Gibbler,
Yes.
Horstman,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Humphrey,
Yes.
Kitson,
Yes.
Copain,
No.
McLean.
Yes.
Olson says yes too.
Olson,
Yes.
Sorry.
All right, motion passed. Okay, let's go down to B, petition 21-P-1565. Petitioner is the Lee County Zoning Office. The petitioner is requesting a text amendment to the Solar Energy Systems Ordinance. Do I have a motion on the floor? Chris Norberg first.
Bill
Second. Who was that? Bill Palin seconds. Let's have discussion. Dee, I know you'd hate this, but you want to get up and tell us what we're doing here so everybody understands?
The amended solar ordinance is going to the ZBA, Zoning Board of Appeals, for review. We're going to hold a public hearing. So the public's invited to make statements at this hearing. The zoning board will then make a recommendation back to you as the county board.
All right, thank you. I just wanted everybody to understand. You got a question with Marilyn?
Yes, back on the agenda in March, we were laying it over as an ordinance with the intent of possibly voting on it in April. Obviously, we did not have a March meeting, so I thought last month we laid it over to vote on it this month. So I'm confused as to the reason for the changes and inserting the ZBA in here.
I think that we did the last two ordinance wrong. I think they need to go through the planning commission or the zoning, ZBA, and then they come to us. They have to have a hearing, public hearing, and we didn't do it properly. So we're pushing it back and having the ZBA do the hearing, public hearing, then they'll make a recommendation to us and we'll take it forward that way.
We did not do it procedurally right.
You know, it's just unfortunate that everybody was under the other impression.
We wasted a lot of time in committee and hopefully they'll take some of them recommendations at the ZBA hearing. But yes, we were all wrong on it. So any other questions? Rick?
So if there's any changes that come out of this, are they recommendations or can they be changed by the zoning board?
Zoning board can change, recommend whatever to the full board. And then the full board, we could probably change.
So is it a recommendation if they make changes or is it an actual change?
My attorney just walked out the door, so I'm gonna jump in.
It's a recommendation.
Good. Mike,
Do we currently have anything in effect for solar ordinances?
it actually goes back to our original one that Matt Klein wrote at this time. So,
Okay, thank you.
and that was done correctly. Any other questions? No? Marilyn?
Not directly related to this, but yet it is, because the next item is the petition for South Dixon Solar. And I think everyone was anticipating these new restrictions when the South Dixon Solar came back. So now are they still under the old ones or will they be delayed because of this delay?
Anything that petition comes through at this point will go under the first ordinance that we had. But Nicholson met with South Dixon Solar Friday. John, you want to get on the mic and tell them what they
have agreed to go along with whatever shakes out on this most current ordinance that we're formulating right now.
Okay.
we have their word. That's about as all we got. And that they, they understand where we're at.
They seem very, very compliant with that.
They're petitioning for August, and hopefully this will all be behind us by August.
So they're petitioning in August, so why are we sending it to the ZBA as our next item on here?
They're getting in kind of like a queue. My June ZBA was full of petitions, and they decided August would be their best date to come in.
Because we're sending it to the zoning board, doesn't mean the date's been set.
Can't hear you.
Talking to
I
Mike,
can't hear
John.
you, John.
Go ahead, Dave. I mean, they're working toward August.
I just, if they're not coming to August, why are we sending it now? I guess that, I just don't understand that. We could send it in July if it's coming in August.
Sending the petition?
Sending the petition to zoning board. Not the one we're going to vote on now, but the next item on the agenda, which
They're
is very
getting,
closely related.
so they're getting in the, like the queue or the,
I would say they're getting in line. There's other
Getting
ones
in
in front of
line.
them.
A wait
trying to
list.
Get in to get in line.
A wait list?
a wait list.
Yes.
Okay.
Better word. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack.
Yes, Dave Valley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We also have, the state's coming out with a bill 1602 that we're talking about later in this meeting. There'll be guidelines or guidance, on some of these state bills, the whole bill on the state. Do we really want to do this before we hear this guidance issue?
I think that's the huge debate we have, and we've already discussed it. I've talked to Bruce Forrester of the ZBA, and, you know, we'll see what the state comes up with when they come out. We have no control. So I think at this time, we need to move forward so we can get something, some kind of ordinance in place so we can move forward. Any other questions? We have a first and we have a second. Just to reiterate, this is to send it to the ZBA board, and they can go ahead and have their hearing. So maybe we'll do this with a roll call vote also.
Nicholson.
Yes.
Norberg.
Yes.
Palin.
Yes.
Sheline.
Yes.
Shippert.
Yes.
Scrogstad.
Yes.
Wentley.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Zeman. Valley.
Yes.
Barster.
Yes.
Gibbler.
Yes.
Horstman.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Humphrey.
Yes.
Kitson.
Yes.
Copain.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
Lyrum.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. Motion passed. Yes. I just had a clarification from Charlie. I must have reached out to Duke, and they agreed to adhere to the ordinance as it is now, not how it comes out. So they will follow it how our, or not how it is now, how the one we are going to vote on tonight.
The one that's before them right now.
Yeah.
The one that's on the table.
The one that's on the table that we're tabling. Thank you.
That's what I mentioned. That's what the agreement was.
Yes.
They will go by whatever our final ordinance is.
Well, they're going to go on the one that's on the table right
Yeah,
now.
Correct.
Yes, and we just wanted clarification on that. Okay. Thanks, Charlie. Moving on, let's go to item C. Petitioner 21-P-1566. Petitioner South Dixon Solar LLC. Parcels found on file located in South Dixon Township. The petitioner is requesting a special use for a solar farm. Do I have a first? John Nicholson. Do I have a second? Keen Hudson. Any discussion? Marilyn?
Has there been any change in the parcels involved since their last go round?
He
Thank you.
says no. Any questions? We better do a voice roll call vote on this as well.
Norberg.
Yes.
Palin.
Yes.
Sheline.
Sheline abstains.
Shippert.
Yes.
Scrogstad.
Yes.
Wentley.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Zeman.
Yes.
Valley.
Yes.
Farster.
Yes.
Gibbler.
Yes.
Horstman.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Humphrey.
Yes.
Kitson.
Yes.
Copain.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
Lyrum.
Yes.
and Nicholson.
Yes.
Olson,
I'll abstain. Motion passes. To the Planning Commission, no petitions. From the Zoning Board, petition 21-P-1561, petitioner is Haywell LLC, Tim Hayden, part of the parcel 19-22-0505-300-005 in Sublet Township. The petitioner is requesting a special use for the purpose of constructing a self-storage facility. Do I have a motion, or first? John Nicholson. Jim Sheeline seconds. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Horstman.
On this proposal, the Sublet Planning Commission specifically found that this project would be at odds with the village's comprehensive plan. The Sublet Village Board then met, they reached the same conclusion. It goes up to the Zoning Board of Appeals. The Zoning Board of Appeals did not enter a finding holding to the contrary. Zoning Board of Appeals didn't find that, no, in fact, this project is in conformance with their comprehensive plan. Yet the Zoning Board of Appeals goes the other way, rejects the Sublet Planning Commission's recommendations without an explanation. And not only does the Zoning Board of Appeals not find that the project is in conformance with the comprehensive plan, it actually affirmatively finds that this project would change the nature of the area. I think to reject the Sublet Authority's recommendations on this is not very good government. These local people are closest to the land. They have the best knowledge of the comprehensive plan, the desires of the people here. They have the most at stake here. I think that we have to honor the local authorities and their wisdom and knowledge of the project. And I think this record, since the Zoning Board of Appeals didn't find that the sublet people were wrong, I don't think the record supports a granting of this motion. For those reasons, I would vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Go ahead, John.
Yeah, the village of Split has something to say over what goes on within a mile and a half of their village limits. Much I'm familiar with Franklin Grove. We shut down several different things that went on, and that's what it should be. The local people, as Jim said, should have the say as to what goes on within that mile and a half.
Charlie, you want to give us your interpretation of the mile and a half?
Okay, so when I received the pop quiz a couple minutes ago about the mile and a half, I did look into it. I believe the mile and a half issue is a matter of notice. It's not a matter of jurisdiction when it says a mile and a half of the municipality. It's whether or not you actually have notice of the petition that's coming before the county board, or rather the ZBA, I should say. Notice would be the publication as required by statute, and if I can grab the statute, I'm happy to read that to you.
I had the Sublet Township reach out to me today, and also they voted it down. They're worried about a drainage issue, which I think Dave Anderson talked about in some hearing, I think, that talked about that he didn't think it'd be a problem. So I just want to make sure I'm getting everything out that was conveyed to me. All I asked Charlie, we did give proper notice, so that's all taken care of, right? Okay, D says yes.
Roll call vote.
Yes. Roll call vote. Any more questions before we go to roll call? Yes, Mike.
I'm going to have to agree with Mr. Horstman. For one body of government to trump another body of government that has acted in their capacity as they understood it, as they believed was in place, to me, it's appalling.
I am not going to vote for it. And I'm very unsettled over the desire for this county board to trump the action of Sublet, whether it's the township, the city, the zoning board for Sublet or whatever it is. I think that's totally appalling. I will not vote for it.
Thank you. Any more? Marvin, did you want to say something? Oh, I thought you had your hand up, Marvin.
Oh, no.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? All right, let's go for a roll call vote.
Palin,
No.
Sheline,
No.
Shippert,
No.
Scrogstad,
No.
Wentley,
No.
White. No. Williams,
Yes.
Wilson,
No.
Zeman,
No.
Valley,
No.
Considine,
No.
Barster,
No.
Gibbler,
No.
Horseman,
No.
Hudson,
No.
Humphrey,
No.
Kitson,
No.
Copain,
No.
McLean,
No.
Laram,
No.
Nicholson,
Question for Charlie. I can vote against it even though I made the motion, right, Charlie? No.
Norberg,
No.
Olson.
No. All right. Petition dies. Move on to B. Petition 21-P-1562. Petitioner, Lincoln Avenue Church of God, parcel number 16-07-09-300-004 and 16-07-09-300-005 in Palmyra Township. The petitioner is requesting a special use to utilize the property as a place of worship. Chris Norberg, you make a motion? Keen Hudson seconds it. Any discussion? I think we can do this by a voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. From the Planning Commission, no petitions. At this time, we have board member comments. Anybody like to make a comment? You online? No comments? All right, now we go to public visitors. Visitors on the agenda, we have no one on the agenda. Visitors that's not on the agenda, anybody like to talk to us? Adam, you want to talk to us?
Yeah, I'll step up.
All right, you got 5 minutes.
I've come to the board starting back in August of 2020 when a solar project, solar array was coming near our family farm, and recognized that there was potential shortcomings of the ordinance. Got heavily involved. Observed, the process. November, I watched you all suspend whatever rules we're talking about and vote to change the ordinance, because we were inundated with solar projects that were of massive size and the solar ordinance wasn't addressing them. So you suspended the rules and everyone, including myself, attended and thought the intent was that we made those changes, that those setbacks would stick and adhere to future projects that were petitioned in the county. And I just observed in this meeting that we get a petition that doesn't have to abide by those changes. We find out many months later that it wasn't done correctly is unfortunate. I did attend all the ad hoc meetings that was subsequently set up after the changes were made to the ordinance, and then there was an ad hoc meeting or committee set up, and I did attend every one of those meetings to advocate. And I can tell you that it's government and it's a compromised ordinance. I sat with Chris Hinkle and with Miss Kennedy in those meetings and with some of you all, and went back and forth and came to a neutral point where maybe none of us were completely pleased with what, but ultimately there was something that was improved that came out of that. And there we sit. With it tabled and held over, and with more things that seemingly way late in the game come to be that weren't completed. Maybe we should have done a moratorium on solar, which was what was asked at the time, and there wasn't movement behind, but maybe we should go on a moratorium of industrial sized solar so that we could have paused and looked at all of this the right way and not keep putting the cart before the horse. That's all I've got. Thank you.
I was going to respond, but I think I will be better off if I don't. Let's go to committee reports. Finance, Mr. Wenley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We met on Thursday at 9 o'clock. Minutes, a lot of discussion at the meeting. Minutes are in there. Check those out. We had a presentation from our Whitley, our audit. Matt Schuler was there, and we'll probably be hearing from him a little bit later on in the meeting. We discussed raising the tuck pointing bid. Had to be raised 10,000 because of a contract. We didn't, because we missed the March meeting, and we had to have it the final okay, but they had to settle with their workers, so it's going to be 10,000 more, which is budgeted. We're good to go with that. Our audit upcoming for the next 3 years. Paula has sent out request for proposals. They're going to be due by June 8th, and then we'll review them, and then in June's finance meeting, and then we'll bring it to the board at the June meeting. Okay, the budget hearing calendar, tentatively, we'll probably, I got to make sure that everybody's on board and can make it, July 29th, 30th, August 2, and August 3, if needed. Also, we have the FOP contract was ratified Monday night. That'll be up later in the meeting for approval. We also have formed a committee for the American Rescue Relief Plan. And we've talked about, or we have talked about using the money wisely, I guess, is what we want to do. So we want to take it slow. So there's a planning committee, and John Nicholson's on the committee, John Symington, myself, Dave Anderson, Kevin Lally, Sarah Leisner from Charlie's office, Charlie Boonster, and Chris Norberg. We did receive our first payment of the American Rescue Relief Plan. That was $3,311,000. So we'll be getting together with these folks, and we also have selected, and she has graciously accepted to do it, Sarah Leisner out of Charlie's office to be our grant spokesperson. We had to have one person to be a contact person with the Department of the Treasury. So Sarah is going to be doing that with assistance from Patty Rudolphi. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for the finance chair? I think Sarah is going to do it. She's going to be the grant coordinator for $10,000. That's for the first 6 months. We're going to take a look at it and see how it goes. And then Patty Rudolphi is going to be the check and balance for the finance part of it for $5,000. So that's what we set up. I don't know if we need a motion for that, Charlie, or not. Do we?
Well, Bob?
Yes.
One thing, there is provisions in that 150-page that's called the Final Rule Act with this plan there is provisions for administrative costs, which this would be paid for.
All right. I'm just looking to see if this is farther down the agenda so we can vote on it then. Discussion American Rescue Grant Act Coordinator. See, we can do it then. So, all right. I also had some questions from some board members about the FOP contract. What can you share with us that we're going to be voting on tonight as far as percentage, if you want to, or whatever? The board members are voting on it and they really don't know what they're voting on the contract. So they'd like a little information on it.
It's a 3-year agreement with us. And for many years, the negotiating committee negotiated with the 3 different unions. And we just accept the negotiating committee's, I guess, decision when it gets settled. And mind you, the money that, let me step back. The negotiating committee already knows what the finance committee has set for the parameters as far as the money goes. So, and board members are allowed to sit in on negotiating meetings. So if they wish to do so, they can. And also there's a copy of the contract in the chairman's office. So I guess bottom line, what I'm getting at is just, you have to put trust in your negotiating committee.
Sure. And you're well within the parameters of what they set up with the contract. I've got to, go ahead, Marilyn.
When we passed the contract for the operators union, you were questioned as to the amount, and you said we're in negotiations with another union, and so you didn't want to disclose at that time, which I understand, but I think I would like to hear a percentage at this point.
A percentage of what?
What was the increase?
Oh, you mean in the years?
Yeah.
Each year? 1.75 and 2.25.
The 3-year contract, so
The first year was, they were given a cash payment.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the finance chair? We'll deal with that when we vote on down here. I probably put the cart before the horse, but I just want to get that out there. Thank you. Let's move on to transportation, solid waste. Mr. Sheeline.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Transportation Solid Waste Committee met Monday, May 10th, 8 a.m. All the usual suspects were present. We took care of the claims. I'll make a motion that we approve the claims.
Got a second? Chris seconded. All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Then major order of business, we did go have an executive session on pending litigation. Then as you'll see later on is we've got resolution on Dave Anderson's salary. This is routine. Portion of his salary comes out of the MFT fund. And then we've got the Big Sky Repower resolution that's been signed and done. And you'll see that coming down the pike. And other than that, the 20,000 pounds, it's really incredible how much of the TVs, computers and everything that gets brought in, 20,000 pounds in a month. So but think of it this way, that's 20,000 pounds that's not going out on the highway. So anyway, that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Any questions for him? Okay, we'll move it on to properties, planning and zoning. Mr. Nicholson.
Good evening, everybody. We met last Tuesday, the 11th. Minutes are in your packet. Long meeting. Took me a little while to kind of get back into the swing of being properties chairman again, but I think we made it. A couple minor things that I have to comment on. In the minutes, animal control has done a lot of work down there. Our maintenance crew has been able to get walls and floors epoxy coated, now just has to cure before we put in the hardware. Anybody who came through the 3rd floor meeting room sees it's being remodeled, repainted, and that is an ongoing project for a while. As far as the tuck pointing of the courthouse, I had a talk with Bergstrom, or Bergland, I guess it is, this evening, and they are going to be starting very soon on this. Don't know the exact date yet, but everybody's aware it's going to be quite a remodel and quite a tuck pointing operation. So if somebody has a question, I'll try to answer it.
Questions for John? Thank you.
Yep.
Let's go to properties planning, and I guess we just did that. Lots, Jim Sheeline. You guys have a meeting?
Yeah, we have not had an advisory meeting as of yet, and you have Mr. Gates's report in front of you. If you have any questions, Mr. Gates is sitting right there, and be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Gates? I see none. Administrative Services, Mr. Norberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Couple things that we went over. We're going to vote or talk about some resolutions from the assessor's office here later, so not going to get too bogged down with that. The one piece of information is Jonathan up front there is going to work on coming full-time through the BEST program. 75% of his wages for the first 6 months will be paid by BEST, and then he'll be our employee full-time. So Jonathan will be our new employee in the IT department. Minutes are in the packet. If you have any other questions.
Congratulations to Jonathan. He's been a wonderful asset.
Yes, welcome to the team, Jonathan. Questions for Mr. Norberg? Thank you. Public Safety, Mike Copine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Public Safety met May 12th here in this facility. We went over the claims, or we approved April's meeting minutes, went over the claims and approved those for payment. We had an update on the collection of unpaid fines via the state's attorney's office. Will Fox reported that $10,392.73 had been collected in April in unpaid fines. Some of the rest of the information is a little lengthy. Marilyn Shippert did bring in a report of an abandoned home in the Nachusa area that, excuse me, needs some attention. And there was some action that was started on that. There's been abandoned vehicles. There's 3 feet of water in the basement of the building. Whoever resided there left apparently whatever they owned or used when they were in the house. So that's being looked at, and there will be some action on that. The sheriff has commented that they will start work on the abandoned vehicles that are there. Department head reports, we heard from Stacy Stewart. All of this information is in the report for the public safety meeting. It's quite lengthy to try to read through all of it. So if you have any questions after you've looked at it, just let me know and I'll try to get the answers for you. We had an adjourn at 10:58 a.m.
Any questions for Mr. Copine? Thanks, Mike. Black Hawk Hills Regional Council, Mr. Nicholson.
I didn't have a meeting last month. Our meeting falls Monday evening at 6 o'clock via phone/Zoom meeting. So I'll have it to report next month.
Thanks. 911 Board, Keen Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In addition to the report already submitted by Director Dallas, she also advised that Motorola Flex Public Safety Project System Administration training took place May 4th through the 6th at the 911 Center, and the command staff from Lee County Sheriff, Dixon PD, and ETSB were present, along with Dixon and ETSB IT. Got off to a great start, was set up for Motorola Flex software, and CAD administrative training is scheduled for June 1st through June 3rd. And she advised that November 30th is still the target for the go live. Director Dallas is following legislation involving the 911 closely, specifically House Bill 2784 regarding dispatching calls for service for individuals experiencing a mental health crisis. Our next ATSD meeting will be Thursday, May 27th. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Hudson? Thank you. Tourism, Bill Palin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We met on Wednesday, May 12th. As a result of limited funds. On your desk, you'll see a new form of advertising. It's called a Z card, which is a sign of a credit card, size of a credit card, but it unfolds to a 9 by 15 inch map containing a numbered list of attractions in Lee County. And with a more detailed listing on the reverse side, divided into 5 sections of interest throughout the county. These have all been very well received by the businesses in the county. Also on your desk is a brochure containing some of the upcoming events in the area. Our share of the hotel motel tax receipts for the month of March amounted to $5,404.52, which is more than twice as much as the amount we received in March of last year, and more than $1,400 more than March of 2019. We hope that this good news continues. That's my report, Chairman.
Any questions for Mr. Palin? Thank you, Bill. Health Department, Mrs. Katie White.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was unable to attend the May 11th meeting because I was ill, but the meeting minutes are in your packet, and I do have some updates for you guys that Kathy gave me because she's not able to attend tonight. So we did begin to vaccinate the 12 to 17-year-old age group, which includes, obviously, we already started the 18 and plus. Since the demand for the vaccine is down now, they're doing a different approach, kind of on the road approach. They've been to Paw Paw and Ashton. They're in Amboy today, so people could get their vaccine. They're considering being present at certain local events, but more details are to come throughout the summer and spring, so people can get, so even in the rural areas, people can get their vaccine. Right now, Lee County has the lowest COVID rate in the region, and we are currently on the bridge to what we call phase 5. And if the numbers continue to trend the way they are, everything will be able to be reopened in phase 5. They're finally catching up on the other services that the health department does provide, which is a lot of other things too. So that's really great news since the COVID issue has slimmed down a little bit. And they're currently in the process of updating the food code, but it will take some time before they get it to the board. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Mrs. White. Any questions for her? Thank you. Tri-County Opportunities Council, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tri-County Opportunity Council board meeting was held April 29th by Zoom meeting. And our next meeting is going to be May 25th by Zoom meeting. And if everyone should have a copy of my report on their desk. If there's any questions in regards to that, I'd be glad to try to answer.
Any questions for Mr. Williams? Thank you. Thanks, Marvin. United Counties Council of Illinois, Doug Forster.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We didn't have a meeting last month, but there will be one. I was notified yesterday via email, via Zoom meeting from Springfield next Monday, the 24th at 1 p.m. So we are going to have a meeting. That's when the minutes also didn't come out till late yesterday afternoon. So I didn't have a copy of those. Those again would be from the March meeting anyway. Becky was kind enough to forward out to all of you via email the upcoming Eagle Ridge Resort or UCCI summer meeting. That will be, all of you should have that. I suggest you get your reservations in. They're probably filling up. I just confirmed mine the other day and I did get a room. So again, that's coming up. That's July 26th and 27th. You can go in on a Sunday night for the pre meeting, but basically it's the 26th. Stay overnight, back to the 27th. If anyone has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Any questions for Mr. Farser? Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
Executive claims. Do I get a motion to approve claims? Mr. Kitson and Ms. White seconds it. All those in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. County officer reports, request for deposit of funds and orders paid in vacation. Do I have a motion for that? Mr. Kitson and Mr. Nicholson seconds it. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. We'll go to old business. Business item A, ordinance amending the regulation development of solar systems. It's been held over since April. That's what we discussed earlier. I don't know if we're ready to do anything. Mr. Nicholson,
Motion, we table it till next month.
I got a motion to table till next month. Do I got a second? Mr. Copine seconds it. Any discussion?
Motion on the table.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Oh, this motion is to table it till next month. So maybe we better do a roll call vote on this. I'm sorry. Yes, we still got discussion. I'm sorry.
What's our reason to table it?
Well,
I know we're not thinking it's perfect and there's questions from Farm Bureau and so forth.
it was done improper and we didn't go through the right way we're supposed to do it. We did it wrong. It's supposed to come out of planning or through zoning, and they have a public hearing and then it comes to it. And I take responsibility. I'm the one that got the committee together and
Not looking for blame, but just so we can correct this by next month, though, you think?
ZBA is it's in their June meeting, so hopefully they get a recommendation to us and we need to, clean it up, wrap it up and do it correctly. So just so you know, the one before this, last one was done improper too. So we go clear back to the one Mr. Klein.
Thank you for the explanation.
Arlen, did you have a question on that? Okay, I'm sorry. We better do a roll call, just make sure.
Sheline,
Yes.
Shippert,
Yes.
Scrogstad,
Yes.
Wuntley,
Yes.
White,
Yes, sorry.
Williams,
Yes.
Wilson, Zeman,
Yes.
Valley,
Yes.
Considine,
Yes.
Barster,
Yes.
Gibbler,
Yes.
Horstman,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Humphrey,
Yes.
Kitson,
Yes.
Copain,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Larum,
Yes.
Nicholson,
Yes.
Norberg,
Yes.
Palin,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you. Item B on old business, county administrator job description. We held this over from April. This is to hire a new county administrator. If you all remember, we put that on and we tabled it for a month. I'd entertain a motion. Mr. Hudson, I got it first. Do I got a second? Mr. Forster seconds it. Any discussion? Job descriptions in our packet. I guess let's do a roll call vote on that also as
Chairman?
well. Yes.
So if this passes, what's going to be the path forward here?
Path forward is we'll either, I haven't decided yet. The executive committee is actually in charge of hiring her, but we might make a committee to interview. I don't know. I want to talk to the exec committee and see what their path forward or they'd like to see done. So
Timetable?
I'd like to do it as soon as possible because I'd like the position filled by budget hearings. So I feel that somebody needs to be close at that time and you're looking at end of July, 1st of August.
Okay, thank you.
We really need an administrator in this county. Any questions? Yes, Myron.
What's the price range,
80 to,
the salary?
yep.
80,000 to 125.
You want to apply?
Hi, Marvin.
Hmm?
We're taking applications. You want to apply?
No,
All right.
probably find a way to reduce it if I applied.
You're right.
Any other questions? All right. If none, let's go ahead and do a roll call on that too. I'm sorry.
Shippert,
Yes.
Scrogstad,
Yes.
Wentley,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Williams,
No.
Wilson,
Yes.
Zeman,
Yes.
Valley,
Yes.
Considine,
Yes.
Barster,
Yes.
Gibbler,
Yes.
Horstman,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Humphrey,
Yes.
Kitson,
Yes.
Copain,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Lyrum,
Yes.
Nicholson,
Yes.
Norberg,
Yes.
Palin,
Yes.
Sheline,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carried. Let's go to new business, keep moving. Item A, the ordinance for petition 21-P-1561 was denied, so there's no need to discuss or vote on that. We'll go to B, the ordinance petition 21-P-1562. This does not need to be held over. That's what we voted on earlier about the Church of God, Lincoln Avenue Church of God. So I'd entertain a motion to approve this. John Nicholson and Tom Kitson seconds it. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion carried. Let's go to item C, discussion of American Rescue Plan. Act Grant Coordinator. That's what we talked about earlier. Sarah Leisner. She's going to be our grant coordinator, like I said, for $10,000. I told her for 6 months, then we'd sit and look at it. It's really been busy. She's had a lot to do. There's a lot to that. And then Patty Rudolphi, like I said earlier, is going to be taking care of the financial end. So we got two different people looking at it to clean it up, make sure we do it properly. Any questions? As Jim stated, we got half our money yesterday, 3.3 million, somewhere in that area. And the hardest problem is going to be to spend it wisely, because we got all kinds of ideas and we need to make sure we do it right. Also, I set a planning committee for this. It consists of John Nicholson, John Simonton, Jim Wentley, Dave Anderson, Kevin Lally, Sarah Leisner, Charlie Boonstra, and Chris Norberg, and myself. If anybody else wants on that, I don't want that committee that huge, but if anybody feels the need, they need to sit on that. So how it's going to work is a department head or somebody is going to come up with something. They feel they have a need. They're going to write a small narrative. They're going to send it to Sarah. Sarah's going to sort it out for the committee, and she's going to send it to the committee, the ones that she thinks fits the box. When the committee gets it, this committee here will try to prioritize the projects. So this committee will look at them, make sure they fit the narrative. We'll prioritize them, and then we'll send them to finance, and finance has the final say. And at finance, at that point, we'll bring it to the full county board and move forward. I guess let's get a first and a second.
I was gonna make a first to appoint Sarah at $10,000 and Patty at $5,000.
Yeah, we get a first, and Jim Wentley seconds that. Now we can have some more discussion. Thank you, guys. Any questions or ideas or? Yes, Mr. Kitson.
Clarification, you said all narratives will go through Sarah.
Yes.
She will choose which ones go to the committee? Are they all? go to the committee?
Sarah's got to make sure they fit the narrative for, it's 151 pages that we got, and we need somebody to sort that out at first. So we'd like the department head or, board member, whoever thinks there's a need or some gap we need to fill or something that project will fit. We need a narrative and why you think it will fit, and that'll clean up a lot of time, save a lot of time. I got a first and a second. Any more discussion? I think we can do this a voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. All right. Up next is the FOP contract. Charlie found some verbiage that we really don't need to discuss it here. Would that be correct? Yes. Just so you know, as board members, I got the copies in my office. You're welcome to them anytime. I probably should have offered that up earlier in an email. So if there's any questions, you guys could have read it over. I'll do that in the future. So if there's any questions, we do it. But I entertain a motion to approve the contract. Mr. Kitson, Mr. Humphrey seconds it. Any discussion? Thank you. I think we can do this in a voice vote also. All those in favor of the FOP
Aye.
contract, signify by aye. All those opposed?
Chairman,
Yes.
I feel I should abstain.
Okay, thank you. You want to note that Mr. Hudson? Jane, motion carries. GIS recording fees and cost study. Mr. Norberg, you want to?
Yeah, so Wendy came to me a month ago and has a plan to increase the fees for the GIS recording. She gave her presentation fantastically at finance, and Mr. Sheline hit it on the head that the people who are using the resource are the ones who are going to pay for the resource. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it goes from $18 up to $31. So, and you're like, holy cow, that's a big increase, but we have not increased it in 14 years. So it's really not that great of an increase. So the cost study is there. This is, I'll make the motion to approve the cost study. And then we can discuss if anybody has any specific questions in the cost study.
Mr. Sheline, were you seconding that or do you have a question?
Yes, sir.
Second, we good. Mr. Sheline seconded.
Does anybody have any questions about the cost study? Wendy did a fantastic job putting this together, showing where the trends are going, and as far as how her department is going to handle some of this, and from a finance standpoint of where we sit compared to other counties is on page 11 of the cost study.
Did she do that in-house or did she send that out? Don't we have to have that sent out to do? No? Okay. Well, you did a nice job on it. Thank you. Any more questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next up, we got the assessment office, new employee.
Nope, the ordinance for revision of recording fees,
Oh,
which
all
will
right.
have to hold over until June.
All right, I got a first there. Thank you for the catch. Do we have a second? Mr. Kitson? Any more discussion on the revision of this GIS recording fee? It's going to be held over until the June meeting.
I can give you guys a high level. This is changing some job responsibilities from the county general fund to the GIS fund. And this kind of feeds into the next portion of hiring somebody with the fee increase. But long story short, the county general fund will save, we figure roughly $41,000. And a good chunk of the salary will be able to be paid by the recording fee increase. We also picked up a township that we now have to assess. We're now down to just 4 multi-townships in Lee County. So that will be another burden. So that's the reason for the additional help.
Got first, we got second. We need a second, don't we? Mr. Kitson? Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Now we go to the assessment office, the new employee. Job descriptions in your packet. I don't know if anybody had a chance to look it over. I'd entertain a motion, then we'll discuss it.
Just covered that.
Mr. Norberg, Jack seconds it. Any discussion? Mr. Humphrey.
Yeah, talked about this at Finance Committee and I guess it was kind of just brought in at that time and, you know, we got to look at the cost study and everything else. But I guess my concern is that we're adding additional headcount during the midst of a budget year. We're in the process of looking for a county administrator. I just feel that that's probably a position that the county administrator should take a look at, not just in this department, but at all departments, see where we are staffing wise, if we need to add headcount, remove headcount. I don't know. I mean, I understand the wants and the needs of our departments to be able to make sure that they are fully staffed and stuff. But to add a new employee in the middle of a budget year, this close to looking at an administrator, I guess I just would like to see this not go through. Thank you.
Mr. Norberg.
So the reason for the budget change or the added person in the middle of a budget year is this is a position that does not day one is going to be able to work. There is a training portion to this job that they will have to learn. And knowing that come in December, that if we don't hire somebody till December, it puts us 6 months out, and they're really going to need somebody in that December, January timeframe when assessments are starting to begin. So that's the justification for the assessor's office for wanting to add somebody now, along with, once again, the added township, multi-township is going to be an increased workload, and all of it's justified with the fee increase.
Mr. McLean has.
I really think the help grant's gonna be looking at IT and going into the future. It'd be nice to have that information because we may have a new funding source instead of having to add positions. We may want to add a lot of positions with it related to that and fund multiple years.
What grant is that? I didn't understand.
Help grant.
Yep.
Security and all the different things going on now. I think that's going to be an area they'll really want to push. So I would agree with Rick that we put off till we see how we can use that money.
Any other comments?
Well, I guess I'm confused, Chris. The board packet that I've seen, the person that we're looking for is general office help. Is that correct?
I guess I can defer to Wendy but yes, it's general office help, but there's still a learning curve to the software that they're using.
Well, sure, there's a learning curve to any new job. I get that, but at finance, I thought it was, I was under the impression that this new person was going to be doing some of this township assess work, but it sounds to me like probably somebody in the office is going to move into doing that, and then this person here that you want to hire is going to be just filling in general questions.
I'll defer to Wendy too. It's her department that she can explain how the person will be used.
So yes, the employee is for my office. The goal is to have this employee trained in the CAMA system, which stands for Computer Assisted Mass Appraisal Software System. That's the system that we use to actually value the properties. And so there is a pretty good big learning curve to that. It's not a matter of simply learning how to answer the phone and respond to counter traffic. The goal is to have, as Chris already said, somebody in here by January 1. That's when we're going to be taking on the 6 additional townships. Come January 1, we are going to have 15 of the 22 townships being done in-house. The good news is that there is an offsetting revenue stream that comes from that. These townships that aren't paying a township assessor, in fact, are paying Lee County. So we have intergovernmental agreements signed with those individuals. The other thing that I would point out that I don't think I did bring out at the Finance Committee meeting is that the GIS department, the restructuring of that and the discussion you've already had, one of my staff individuals physically moved out of the main office. So that person is no longer in the front office to be able to answer the phone calls and the questions. So I'm also short from having one less person in the front office. Now, the reality is that person's day-to-day tasks involved primarily, I would say 85% GIS, which is why I proposed transferring that person to the GIS fund, the expense of that person to the GIS fund. But the reality is that having that person physically out of the front office also leaves a void there. So I am respectfully asking, I do respect and understand the concern about coming in the middle of a budget year, and it would not have been my choice to do that. The GIS restructuring took place in October, was not on my radar when I put together the budget last year, and the additional townships came forward just in the last 2 months. So again, I didn't have that on my radar, or I would have certainly budgeted for it last year. I respectfully request that and would appreciate your support in this.
Any other questions for Wendy? I think we better have a roll call vote on this one.
Scrogstad,
Yes.
Wentley,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Wilson,
I'll abstain.
Zeman,
Yes.
Valley,
Yes.
Considine,
Yes.
Barster,
Yes.
Gibbler,
Yes.
Horstman, Hudson,
Yes.
Humphrey,
No.
Kitson,
Yes.
Copain,
Yes.
McLean. Lyrum,
Yes.
Nicholson,
Yes.
Norberg,
Yes.
Palin,
Yes.
Sheline,
Yes.
Shippert,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Go to new business, item H, Shady Oaks 2, request for the county to accept a letter of credit in lieu of an escrow account for the decommissioning plan for Shady Oaks 2. Who would be best to just talk about this? I guess we've done them before. I guess let's get a motion on the table and we'll go from there. Mr. Nicholson's got it first. Do I have a second? Mr. Sheline? Any discussion?
I have a question. Does the state's attorney have an opinion on the security of this alternative? Letter of credit versus an escrow?
Yes, so when this was brought up in committee, I think it was Finance Committee, I told them my opinion is it's just as good to me. Obviously, you want to have the cash in hand like you would on the escrow account, but a letter of credit with all of the securities that are in place right now, especially with notice that comes along with it and any change in that security, I think is sufficient for the for what the board is looking for.
Along with this, we charge $55 per megawatt to accept the letter of credit, and that's an annual basis that they pay for that letter of credit. So I think, I don't remember the megawatts of this project, but I think I remember it's like $6,500 a year they're going to pay the county just to have this bank letter of credit. Any more discussion? I think this, we better do a roll call vote too. Getting our money out of her tonight.
Wentley,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Zeman,
Yes.
Valley,
Yes.
Considine,
Yes.
Barster,
Yes.
Gibbler,
Yes.
Horstman,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Humphrey, Kitson,
Yes.
Copain,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Lyrum,
Yes.
Nicholson,
Yes.
Norberg,
Yes.
Palin,
Yes.
Sheline,
Yes.
Shippert,
Yes.
Scrogstead,
Yes.
Olson.
Abstain. All right, motion carried. Let's go to I, resolution amending the Department of EMA to a division of Lee County Sheriff's Office. The motion on the floor, Mrs. White makes first. Do I have a second? Mr. Scrogstead seconds it. Any discussion? This would put Kevin's job in the sheriff's office. He'll be underneath his purview, I guess, and we'll still keep the budget separate the way it sounds, but it'll all be under the sheriff's office budget. Any discussion? Yes.
I just want to point out that Kevin is the one that requested this. He would like to have like someone to answer to. And when I heard that, I thought that was very admirable of him to want to do that. And so, working in, in that kind of chain of command, I think that is very awesome to do this. So I just thought it was something that we should have done a long time ago. So I want to thank Kevin for bringing this to our attention.
He requested me, he called me over and he requested it. And then at some point he's going to be retiring. So we want to be able to move this forward and get a candidate and also do a little cross training with the sheriff's department. So any more discussion? If none, we'll do this on a voice vote. All those in favor of amending,
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Go to the resolution with the salary of the county engineer. I think this is set by state. Sheline talked about it earlier. Jim Sheline's got it first. Do I have a second? Arlen McLean seconds it. Do we have any discussion? Discussion? All right, all those in favor of the salary?
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. We got a resolution here on table, opposition to Senate Bill 1602. Mr. Nicholson makes a motion. Do we have Jack Scrogstad makes a second? I'm going to ask John to explain it. It's his resolution. Go ahead, John.
Yep, essentially, this just is a resolution to oppose what the state wants to do. They want to set the regulations for solar and wind farms versus let it be done on a local level. It's only wise that we do it on the local level because we know the circumstances involving these different entities. Simple as that. They want to poke their nose into our business.
Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Resolution passes. Whiffley, fiscal year 2020 audit presentation. You want to go ahead and take that? Matt?
Whoop. I don't know if Matt's phone's not working. This is Josh Faber. I'm the manager on the engagement. I'll just kind of do a brief overview of the audit. We already met with the finance committee. We went through the details, so I'll just kind of give you guys a general overview of what we went through. The county received an unmodified opinion. It's a clean opinion for the audit. We also had the single audit because of the CARES funding that was received. We had no issues with that as well. We had an unmodified opinion on the circuit clerk audit as well, so no issues there. There was one compliance finding, which has since been corrected. For the single audit, we had an internal control finding that we discovered for lots. That has since been changed and the controls have been mitigated, so good news there. The county's overall net IMRF pension increased. The liability went from about $7 million unfunded to about $1 million unfunded. So a good change of about $6 million in the net pension liability, which is a result of good investment income during the year. The county's fund balances were approximately 18 million. About 4 million of that was unassigned as of the year end. And the general fund increased by about 379,000 compared to last year. That's just kind of the general overview. I know it's kind of quick and short. We know we went through the details of everything with the finance committee, so we kind of walked through the report with them. Does anybody have any questions, concerns over the audit?
Questions for Josh?
I have a question with respect to Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Horstman.
With respect to your comment on unfunded pension liability.
Yes.
You'd said it gone down to 1 million something.
Yes.
Is that secure or is that likely to go up again if the market is not favorable?
It's likely to change depending on market conditions. The way the FY20 report is based on the information available as of December 31st, 2019, just based on the county's fiscal year. So the county pays the money into IMRF. The IMRF invests the funds as the county's not allowed to invest in stocks. So a lot of that is volatile due to market conditions. I haven't seen for certain what the conditions did in calendar year 2020. Based on what I've seen kind of at other places, it's been favorable. So it can change based on market conditions. So that's kind of just, up to IMRF and their ability to invest those funds.
Thank you.
I got a question for Paula here in a minute. Do we have to vote on this to approve this budget?
Do you have to vote on this budget?
Do we have to approve it?
You could accept it. There's not really anything to approve. It just sort of is what it is.
Sure. I think just for good housekeeping, I'll entertain a motion to accept this Mr. Sheeline.
But it'd be accept and place on file, Mr. Chairman.
There you go. I like it. Mr. Kitson, you got a second. All those in favor to accept this and place it on file, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Motion carried. Item M, MOU of the Highway Department, Health Department lots for Cindio bills. I don't think we're ready for this. We got some verbiage issues on the memorandum of understandings. I'd assume we table this. I'd entertain a motion to table this. Mr. Hudson, Mr. Kitson, seconds it. All those in favor to table this, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Let's go to N, Big Sky Wind Road Use Agreement. I think, Mr. Sheeline, you want to speak on this?
This is that same road use agreement that's been recycled about 3 times.
I'd say this is the third time around.
But anyway, 3rd time's the charm. So ask for your support and I would so move it.
Do I have a second? Mr. Sheeline first. Doug Parster seconds it. Any discussion? All those in favor of the road use agreement?
Aye.
Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And I'm going to abstain from that if you'll put that down. So we'll go down to appointments. We'll go to A, appointment of Donald Dingus as trustee of the Sublette Fire Department District, Protection District. Mr. Nicholson first, Mr. Hudson seconds it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carried. We'll go to appointment of Norris Tucker Jr. as Commissioner of Lee County Housing Authority, commencing, well, I'll wait a motion out of Mr. Kitson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make that motion, but I'd like to point out that on both B and C, we have a small correction. Mr. Tucker, rather than being May 20th of 2026, it'll be April 19th of 2025. He's filling the vacancy of a person who retired. And on the appointment of Norma Jean Bershon as commissioner, that one, instead of ending May 20th, will also be April, but of 2023, replacing someone who resigned. So that's the only, but I would make motion to both of those with those corrections.
Got the corrections noted? Got a motion with the dates corrected. Do I have a second? Mr. McLean seconds it. Any discussion? Let's do Norris Tucker first. We'll do them separate. So all those in favor of Norris Tucker as Commissioner of Lee County Housing Authority with the dates that Tom mentioned, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And we'll go to Norma Jean Bershon. All those in favor of her as Commissioner of Lee County Housing Authority, commencing on the dates that Tom mentioned, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. We have no executive session that I know of. I need a motion for mileage and per diem. Mr. Kitson, Mr. Williams seconds it. All those in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Need a motion to pay bills and all appropriations allowed by roll call. Mr. Nicholson first. Mr. Cobain seconds it. Any discussion? Take a roll call vote.
White,
Yes.
Williams,
You say Williams? Yes.
Wilson, Zeman, Valley,
Yes.
Considine,
Yes.
Barster,
Yes.
Gibbler,
Yes.
Horseman,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Humphrey,
Yes.
Kitson,
Yes.
Copain,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Lyrum,
Yes.
Nicholson, Norberg,
Yes.
Palin,
Yes.
Sheeline,
Yes.
Shippert,
Yes.
Scrogstad,
Yes.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. I need a motion to adjourn. Considine and Mr. Kitson seconds it. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.